And we are back, and as you heard, we are hearing from none other than the owner of 413 Elite, a Springfield based professional basketball team playing in the ABA, Mr. Charles Evans. Charles, thank you so much for joining us
No
today.
problem. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
So, your organization is fairly new. You started it about 2 years ago
Yeah.
um, from scratch.
Mm,
There was no 413 Elite before you started the team.
mm.
It's a huge undertaking to start a professional basketball team. It takes a lot of, it's a leap of faith
Yes.
in many ways, and I'm sure it takes a lot of hard work. Where did you get that courage and confidence to take that leap?
I've just been always being down and counted out. I've always wanted to have my own. I always had business ambition, and I loved the sport of basketball. Coming from Springfield, the birthplace of basketball, all we did playing in all the inner city leagues and stuff like that. So I knew eventually, I didn't know it would be ownership, but I knew it would be something in basketball. And it just so happened, you know, my faith in God, the doors opened up and I'm able to come back to my hometown and actually own the team instead of
Yeah,
playing.
right.
So,
Where does, and I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but where does one start? Do you pick up the phone and make a phone call? Do you send a letter to a particular, I'm just trying to imagine those first early steps that have led to where you are now.
so with me, it's always been, I started with playing, then from playing coaching, and then from coaching, it was kind of like, okay, if I had a chance, I felt the calling and said, if I had a chance to run a team, how would I do it? Because throughout my journeys, I was seeing good and bad, both sides of the coin.
Mhm.
So I said, okay, if you had your own team, what would you do? How would you do it? And how would you run it? And I wrote a bunch of different things down in my notebook and stuff like that, and just my experience. So now when the doors open, I reached out. I had a friend reach out actually. I reached out to a friend and he reached out to the owner of the ABA and he said, "Hey, I got a guy from the birthplace of basketball that want to own a team." So they put me in contact and it just so happened everything just fell right in place and now I'm able to showcase exactly what I put in that notebook.
Right. Well, so it seems like it's a journey. As you were progressing in your professional basketball career overseas, that is when that train started to run. I mean, you may not have known it then, you always had ambitions, but you had to draw on everything that you learned during that time.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your experience with Springfield Public Schools. So you graduated from the,
High School of Science and Technology in 2004.
okay. And so how have you felt like that experience has built you to be where you are today?
Well, I mean, it started, like I said, it started in Kennedy, actually, Kennedy Middle School. I went to Homer Street for elementary school, then Kennedy, and then Sci Tech. But I went to Sci Tech because I didn't want to follow the crowd. And I felt around that time everybody was going to Commerce and Central. And I said, Sci Tech was fairly new
Hmm.
too in 2000, 99, 2000. So it was kind of like, I want to go there and chart my own path. And I don't want to follow the crowd, but I also want to compete against the guys because, basketball, the basketball scene was that Commerce winning everything and stuff like that. So I said, I want to chart my own path and see where I'm at. And uh, coming in at 2000, you know, it started there. I started making friends. Well, I had a bunch of friends that came with me as well from Kennedy, and we just did what normal high schoolers do. And
Were you a high school athlete star? Did you like do well academically and did you do well on the basketball court? What's your story?
so academically, I did not. I didn't take school serious as far as grades go, and I ran the hallways and stuff like that. So around 2000, you needed a 1.67 GPA to play sports. So I did just that, the bare minimum to make it. And, you know, I, by me doing that, I didn't realize I was charting a path to unsuccess, if that,
Yeah.
makes any sense, because of the simple fact is about time I got to my senior year, I didn't realize that my freshman year played a big point in my GPA
Mhm.
because it starts there. That's kind of like the foundation, and then you build on that foundation.
Right.
So by me only, trying to get a 1.67, not doing the things, not showing up to class, skipping classes and doing stuff that was unnecessary. I can play basketball really well, and I stayed in the gym and stuff like that. So I had that part like tied up and sealed. But I
Right.
should have been doing the same thing that I was doing with the basketball skills and
Mhm.
my mindset towards that in the classroom.
Mhm.
And I liken it until sometimes we feel as students, well, at least for myself, when a teacher when a teacher actually asks a question, I mean, when the teacher is going over something and I ask a question, if that teacher doesn't answer my question, I'm stuck right there.
Mhm.
So when that teacher moves on,
You're
I'm
still
still at this point,
okay.
and I noticed that that's where a lot of my behaviors came from
Mhm.
because I started, acting up in class, wanting to be the class clown now because mentally I'm stuck at this point, but I don't want my peers to know,
Interesting.
and
Yeah.
it happens a lot. I see it a lot, but it's just I didn't want my peers to know, so I start acting up, and then I'm just like, you know what? Well, they're already over here. I'm still at this point, so there's no point in me coming to class
So it was like a snowball effect in a negative way.
in a negative way,
But
right?
it seems like all these years later, you're able to reflect on that now
Mhm.
and you've sort of grown from that. And I know that there has been a shift in terms of high school athletes and their academic performance. And that is now considered cool and almost like the thing to do to focus on your grades and to get good grades so that you can get those scholarships.
And it should be, and that's what I'm preaching now, even with my team, because we're going to be doing a lot more stuff in the community. Because I have a bunch of guys on my team too that are like me. But my plan is to, give back to the community and showcase that. I've learned mine even after junior college, because we went to Holyoke Community College down the road, and right after that, we ended up failing off grades again, and we had a really good basketball team, but we only had about like eight players, 8 to 9 players,
Mm.
but we were beating like some of the top teams, and grades came out again. We fell off the team academically, and I just got to myself where I said, you know what, it's time for me to get out of here. A friend of mine, brother, I call him a brother. He went down south and joined the military, so I told him I got to get out of here. It's nothing up here. I'm not doing well, and I need to go. And I went down south, and I went to every school out there, and I prayed. I didn't know anything spiritually, but I just prayed and I said, God, if you give me a second chance on this basketball career, I got way too much talent to not.
Mhm.
I'll do it right. And what happened with that was I ended up going to Jacksonville University and University of North Florida, which is D1 too. But they went when I sat down with them, I did well on the court. But then we had to sit down and go over our transcript. I never took the
Mm.
SAT or the ACT.
Mm.
And with a D1 college, the NCAA, you have to actually graduate with an associate's degree because my clock started ticking at Holyoke and I didn't realize it
Mm.
at a junior college. So I needed my associate's degree. And at the time, again, my mentality was I'm not good at school. So I'm good at basketball, but it's going to take me probably like 3 years to even complete my junior college, my associate's degree, and then go on to
Yeah.
school. And I'm ready to play now. So I was playing in the local leagues, street leagues, and stuff like that. And then one of the guys from FCCJ at the time, Florida Community College,
Okay.
Jacksonville, he took me around. He said I couldn't play junior college, but he took me around to different schools and stuff. And then the HBCU, Edward Waters College, which is now Edward Waters University,
Okay.
and I went there. I did well in the court, and then the coach, actually, Coach Mo, he said I could get you in now, and I could give you 3 years on the court. And I was like, it's a done deal. Where do I sign?
Of
And
course.
I ended up signing there, and a lot has transpired from that.
What I'm seeing is, it seems like you take a lot of power moves. You know, I'm going down south because I'm not doing anything here. So it's like you have had a pattern of reflecting on where you are and where the problem areas are, and then focusing on fixing that.
Right. And I think what it was is just sometimes I'm a loner, if that makes sense, but I could be around a bunch of people. Like I could be in a
Hmm.
crowd, everybody loves being around me and stuff like that. We're having a fun time, but I'm still by myself, like in a weird way. So I'm like, I don't want to be here like that. Like I don't want to, I got too much potential, too much,
Yeah.
inside of me to just be average. And I think that came from just, my sister, she came up in Springfield Public Schools as well. Nicole Evans, she went to Central. She was a top basketball player at the
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
And she got a lot of attention, a lot of star power, D1 colleges, UConn, all of them came down to Central, and she was really good, legit. But she got a lot of the attention. So I think, I'm like, that's my little sister. I teach her, she'll tell you like, oh,
Yeah.
but I respected it. Of course, I love my little sister, but I always felt like I played the background.
Mhm.
But I'm like, I know who I am, and I know the power I possess, and I know where I'm going, so I know
Yes.
what I can do. And it's
Yes.
just like, just give me a chance to showcase that. But what I didn't realize was it was inside of me. It was on me and
Yeah.
me not fulfilling my potential or doing the right thing. And I had to learn that after side tech and after Holyoke. And to get back to the college part, but for the HBCU, I had another sit down with myself. And it's crazy because I ended up graduating my HBCU experience, well, my bachelor's degree, Sigma Beta Delta. I'm a part of Sigma Beta Delta International Business Honor Society. I got recruited to go play in Italy my junior year in college, and they wanted me to stay. And I was gonna stay, but I said, you know what, I can't because I have to go back and finish what I started
Mm.
because I made a promise that if I if I get a second chance, I'm gonna do it right. And what I realized was the thing that was holding me back was my academics
Mhm. Wow.
and being that school thing,
Right.
and
So you had to come back and face that
face
head
it.
on.
And
Yeah.
the crazy thing about it is I get goosebumps now, but when I faced it, I came back and I actually did well. And I haven't got injured my whole career, but I got injured my senior year
Mm.
and I missed some
Worst time to
games.
get injured.
Right after I got an offer to stay in Italy, get paid, start getting paid to play basketball right now, and so after that, I came back. I finished my degree, and my stock actually went up because I did get back on the court. I led the conference in rebounds. I averaged a double double, so I
Okay.
did real well
Right.
at the HBCU. It was an NAIA school at the time, NCAA D2,
So everything came together
full circle.
full circle. But again, it's that another power move, right? Like I have this opportunity here in Italy, but I have to go back because I made a promise to myself.
Right,
So sticking with
and
that.
that was tough. I'm not gonna lie,
I'm
it was tough.
sure.
It was tough. It was really tough.
Yeah. Where
And
do you get that? I don't know. It seems like you have a lot of resolve. You have a lot of like stick to it idness in you. Where do you think that comes from?
I think seeing my mom struggle and my mom, my mom, I gotta give her credit. I do.
Hmm.
There's times where, she did the best she can, with a son. So it's kind of like
Right.
I just never seen her quit. I always see her love on everybody. You know, I realize now at the time we didn't have much, but when we were kids, it seemed like everything.
Right.
So
Yes.
understanding that, and as I got
She
older,
kept her struggles away from you.
right, right. And now with me being a father and stuff like that, I understand where it was. At the time I didn't. I
Hmm.
just thought, oh, you just, over there
Right.
taking care of the sisters and all of that good stuff. I'm by myself, so but it's not that wasn't the case at all. And the love was there. It's just, how do you raise a man? And she raised me with tough love. Like
Hmm.
legit.
Right.
There's times we had our battles and stuff like that,
Are
but
you the only boy in the
yeah, I'm the
family?
only boy.
And how many sisters?
2 sisters, 2
Two.
younger sisters,
Okay,
so
two sisters, a mom, and you
yeah,
in the house.
yeah, yep. And like I said, she's a strong woman, strong woman. Everybody know her in the neighborhood and stuff like that. She's always at the games and stuff like that. So
So let me ask you now, you are the owner of a team,
mhm.
right? So you have to interact with people on a lot of different levels. You have to interact as a CEO, you interact with your coaches, you interact with your players, you interact with your fans who come to the games. But you are the same person. You are always Charles Evans, no matter who you're talking with. So how do you stay grounded?
It's funny because I was just talking about it. Like when I'm in Tahiti, they treat me like LeBron James. Like when
Okay.
I go over there, get off the plane, they give me everything, and but I'm so normal that it's kind of like wow. But I say it's like LeBron James here. Like if LeBron James was
Right.
to come, how everybody would
Right.
act.
Yep.
That's how I am in Tahiti, and me coming back to to America, it's kind of like a humbling experience, especially back home. Everybody's like, man, that's real. Like, oh, like he went to side tech, they ain't do nothing or this, that, and the third. But it's just like, so that humbles me.
Uh-huh.
But I'm already, I'm already like, you guys don't know, and I don't have to prove anything, but I know that feeling that they honor me, and I'm just, I was just happy and blessed to just be able to step on the court,
Right.
and for people to reverence me like that. It was one of those things where it's just like, man, so I don't take it lightly, and I mean, I was more so looking at them like, I'm just happy to be here.
Right.
This is beautiful, like
Right. Yep.
black sand and
So,
everything.
yeah.
So.
Yep. I heard you mention an individual named Coach Mo, and a great look came over your face. He must be somebody who had a great impact on you at the time and probably still now. Is there anybody else? Because nobody goes through life alone. There's always people who are around you. Did you have any special connections or people who come to mind when you think of them as um, motivators or mentors?
When I was younger, definitely my granddad. My granddad, he was a superhero, honestly. Don't know too much about what he did, but he was a real life superhero in the neighborhood and everything. Everybody knew him. So
Who's your grandfather?
Willie Williams, he passed away, but
Okay.
he's been the rock of my family and everything of that nature. And you know, he the one that taught my mom how to be real strong and
Oh.
stuff like that. So, you know, that's a good one.
Hmm.
High school, we had Mr. Short. That was our principal.
Okay.
And at the time at Sci Tech, we were going through principals like change of socks. So and we actually had went outside, the news had came and everything, and we actually fought to keep Mr. Short so that way he could stay
Oh.
our principal the whole 4 years because they wanted to get rid of him. And everybody know around that time from 2000 to 2004. And Mr. Short ended up staying with us. He graduated with us. There were times where he had to suspend me and send me home, have my mom's on on call, but we all appreciated Mr. Short because he was one of those principals that understood in a weird way,
Mm.
but he loved us as if we were his own. And even when he did it, you could tell it hurt him to suspend some of
Yeah.
us. It's funny, but and then Coach McCaskill at Holyoke Community College at the time, Coach McCaskill was like a drill sergeant,
Hmm.
and I didn't like him. I'm gonna be honest with you. We
Okay.
got into it a few times at
Nobody likes
practice.
their drill sergeant.
And but what I realized was he was pulling something out of me that I didn't really even know I had.
Right.
And he became in a different way a father figure on the basketball court to a lot of us, minority men, African American men as well, and it was just different, and we have that power struggle,
Hmm.
especially in our community and stuff like
Yeah.
that between son and father. I
Hmm.
mean, so it was one of those things where it's like, dude, you're not my dad. Don't talk to me like that. Like I'm a
Right.
grown man and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I realized he realized that we had a lot of potential basketball wise and stuff like that. But if we stayed on the same paths of life that we were on and the things that we were doing, we would end up dead or in jail and another
Yeah.
statistic.
Yeah.
So, but he really, really pushed us at practice. He had us running, and as basketball players, we hate running for some reason. But we got into it, but I realized afterwards, I thank him because of the simple fact is that he pulled something out of me that I didn't know was in me, which was if I put my mind to it and fully commit,
Hmm.
I can be really good and great. I just gotta let go of the foolishness and acting like a clown and doing
Right.
the stuff, the unnecessary stuff. And, at the time I didn't want to, but when I did do it on that court, we were good. And I was, leading scorer of the team and stuff like that. And then when we fell off, it's kind of like I feel like I let him down.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I was the captain of the team. And like I said, we had 8 players. So when I fell off, a few other players fell off. We barely had a team. And I'm sure he was looking at me like,
You're the leader.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I
Another.
felt like I let him down on that one. So a lot of my failures came from my own stupidity,
Right.
and
Yeah.
me doing unnecessary things. So that led to me going down south and saying that, getting to myself, saying if I get a second chance at this thing,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it and go full fledged. And that's what you see today.
And as we close, what I love about talking with you and hearing your story is that you there's probably a lot of students who can resonate with that today.
Mm.
They may be struggling in school, they may be the class clown, but there's so much within them. And one thing you said is, your coach said to you, if you stop the foolishness and you fully commit. So I just want to ask you, what does it mean to fully commit? Like, just speak to those kids out there who have so much potential and they don't even know like what you mean when you say fully commit.
Well, fully commit definitely means to give your all. In my case, whether win, lose, or draw, if that's the best way, or whether failure, you know, whatever it is, but to give your all and to leave everything out there and to say, hey, with or without it, if I gave my all. So whether I fail or whether I win, I gave my all. I fully emptied out the tank.
Hmm.
I gave
Right.
everything.
Right.
And by doing that, though, you will win in a weird way. You'll win within yourself,
Yeah.
and then everything else will show. And I tell the players that as well. But it starts early, and in school, high school, getting that committed now, and that's why I'm really big on high school and going back to these places because giving them the information to let them know, listen now
Hmm.
because this is where the most potential lies. And if you get it right here, you will be able to, it'll spring you forth. You'll be ages ahead of everybody else that's not doing it
At this point
at this
in
point.
their life.
And we have a 413 Elite Foundation attached to it. And through our foundation, I want to have a junior elite program. Well, I have a junior elite program. I'm gonna get started soon. And it's for high school kids because I want to teach them the information. It's 6th through 8th, 9th and 10th, 11th and 12th,
Okay.
that age group. I want to be able to get them the information in those areas, basketball and academics, so that way, by the time they graduate high school, they'll be college ready and they'll know about different D-1 schools, NAIA schools, D2, D3. You don't have to go D-1 to play professional basketball. Yes, your chances increase drastically, but a lot of people just don't know. They don't have the information.
Right.
And the people that's around them don't have the information as well. So they're passing their knowledge on to the next generation and their knowledge isn't there.
Right.
So I like to say get the information from the source or somebody who's done it, and then that way you can get experience is the best teacher.
Hmm.
So with me having the experience, I got guys on my team that's went to college, different colleges. Some, like I said, the guy from Nigeria. You see his struggles, his life. The world is big. Like when I played overseas, it's huge. So a lot of the people over there, like they're really struggling. Some don't even go to school, and they just straight sports, 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 and they playing with different things. Or I mean, I just different trinkets and stuff in the sport, but they wonder what the hunger is there because of the starvation. If that
Hmm.
makes sense,
Yeah. Yeah. I get it.
they're lacking. They don't have the luxuries that we have in America, so they're really really grinding. And now it's starting to show on a lot of the sports scenes. A lot of foreigners are taking over.
Yeah. Well, I think that we covered so much ground here today. Thank you for opening up about your story. I'm sure that it will resonate with people out there. And oftentimes we see someone who's a CEO or and you just don't know their backstory.
Yeah.
You don't know what they've had to go through to get to where they are. And everybody has a struggle that they have to overcome. So thank you for sharing that with us today. And thank you for being here
No
with
problem.
us.
Appreciate you, though. I appreciate it.